Good day, everybody. This is Yin Yang at 6:10 approximately in California on morning number 1833, Morsels of a Thought of what I hope is wisdom, because people who are wise and right and give us a synopsis of their magic actions that made things good for them, we are going to do what they do if they are aligned with virtue. So I want to read to you because knowing the right things to do is wisdom. And actually, taking the action to do it is virtue. I want to bring more virtue into the world with books like these by Fein and Sherrie Schneider, who wrote The Rules for Marriage, Time-Tested Secrets for Making Your Marriage Work, as well as The Rules Handbook, as well as a plethora of other books in their series, all about how to create how a guide to creating loving and lasting relationships in the Rules Handbook. Hopefully that we learn the right things to do that apply to us. Okay. All right. The rules for marriage. I can't get it. Don't try to do it all. Okay. Oh, excuse me. I'm trying to do it all. Rule number 27. The modern married woman is a harried woman. She has a big juggling act to do: career, kids, PTA, housework, exercise, groceries, shopping, maintaining friendships, planning vacations, and so on. If you try to do it all, you will become a wreck. I'm just going to read you the first and last paragraph of this particular rule because we read it recently and I know that it's in our series and you've heard it. So I'm going to read you the last paragraph of it, which is: follow the easy plan. Whenever you have a choice, do whatever's less stressful, no matter what other people think. Sometimes it's less stressful to spend a week's vacation time at home relaxing, catching up on rest, reading, and playing with the kids than packing everyone up to go skiing in Colorado or sunning in Puerto Rico. Assuming your husband and you are in agreement on staying home, don't force yourself to go on a fancy vacation because you'd be mortified to tell anyone you didn't go anywhere. Don't go to Europe just to impress your friends and neighbors. If in fact taking any trip will be exhausting and what you really need and want is rest. Some women feel that between packing and flying and running around sightseeing, not to mention the errands and piles of mail and telephone messages to be dealt with when they get home, they are exhausted by vacations and need a week to recover. If this is how you feel, take the easy way out. Don't go places or do things just to impress other people or because it sounds good. Just do what's good for you. We are not saying you will never have an exciting vacation again, but if you are feeling burned out and have young children, save it for another year. We're going to read Don't Hang on His Every Word, rule number 22. We'll read the whole rule. Don't hang on his every word. Excuse me. Okay, hold on, let me read this over here. How that's better. We know very attractive women who don't feel pretty when they are not dating anyone or when the men they are dating stop calling. Conversely, we know less attractive women who feel pretty no matter what, single, married, or divorced. If you are the kind of woman who feels good or bad, depending on the last person you spoke to, whether it's a man, a friend, your mother, or your boss, don't think this kind of insecurity goes away when you're married. Don't think this kind of insecurity goes away when you're married. It doesn't, unless you really work at not hanging on your husband's every word. For example, We know several married women who are easily hurt when their husbands criticize them. Mary Jo is one of them. Her husband, Tom, would frequently comment on her parenting skills. He was always looking over her shoulder when she was taking care of their 2-year-old son. Are you sure you're not giving him too much medicine? Is that sweater warm enough? It's really cold outside. Did you hear that cough? I think you should think twice about going out today. You get the idea. At times, Mary Jo was so hurt she couldn't even respond. At other times, she couldn't contain her anger and screamed, "Since you're so perfect, why don't you stay home and take care of him? Do you think I'm a moron that I didn't measure the medicine I gave him?" When she erupted with anger, it made matters worse. Her husband would look at her in disbelief. "Why are you getting so upset? I didn't say you were doing anything wrong. I was just trying to help." God, you're so sensitive. Of course, that only made her feel twice as bad. She thought, "I'm not a good mother and I'm too sensitive." No matter what Mary Jo did, she always felt inadequate, even though she constantly consulted her pediatrician, married friends, and baby books for advice, and all reassured her that she was doing everything right. She never felt good enough because her husband never gave her the praise she was looking for. She believed him and thought everyone else must be too lenient or plain wrong. Here is what we told Mary Jo and other women in similar situations. Don't hang on your husband's every word. If you know you're a good mother, your husband's comments are no reflection on you. Maybe this is his way of being involved. Maybe his father did the same thing to his mother. Whatever, detach. Don't take it personally. You can then either ignore or the advice or take it if he has any good suggestions. Maybe the sweater isn't warm enough. Easier said than done, of course, but over time, Mary Jo came to see a pattern. It wasn't her husband who made her feel she was not good enough. If her mother found fault with her housekeeping, or her friend didn't like how she decorated the house, she felt they were right and she was wrong. We suggested she start saying affirmations like, "What other people think of me is none of my business. Everybody has an opinion. So what? I'm enough. What I do is enough." At first, she didn't believe any of it, but she kept saying these phrases until she felt stronger. The more she worked on developing an inner core of confidence, the less she cared what anyone said. Perhaps your issue is not parenting, but something else. Maybe your husband thinks you spend too much money, or that you're bad with finances. He's constantly on your case to balance your checkbook and grills you about every new purchase to make sure you're going to really use it. "Is that treadmill for hanging clothes?" he asks. Consequently, you feel that he must be right, even though you always clip coupons, have never bounced a check, and are a relentless comparison shopper. As long as you know in your heart that you are not trying to waste money, you can go about your business guilt free. We are reading from Ellen Fein and Sherrie Schneider's wisdom. Then we are going to take action that applies to us, because taking the right action is actually creating virtue. We're going to bring more virtue into the world with themes like these: the rules for marriage, time tested secrets for making your marriage work. Here's a classic case of taking your husband's every word too much to heart. You come home with a new hairdo or outfit and ask your husband, "How do I look?" If he says fine, you moan, "Just fine." He says, "It's really nice." You want to hear gorgeous, sexy, stunning, but he doesn't say those words, and suddenly you don't feel pretty. You look in the mirror and the same outfit that you fell in love with at the store looks lousy. That you fell in love with at the store. You can't decide whether you look good anymore. You feel low and confused, not to mention hurt and unattractive. What to do? Well, If you don't want to go through this torture, don't ask your husband what he thinks. Just wear the outfit, and if he notices, fine. If he doesn't, fine. Don't look for attention. Stop caring so much what he thinks, and you won't be so hurt. Maybe he's in a funk and doesn't feel like talking about your clothes. Just leave him alone. Even if your husband is the type to lavish compliments on you, you can't live on that. If you feel good only when he tells you how sexy and smart you are, then how will you feel when one day he tells you to firm up your thighs or complains that all you do is talk on the phone with your friends? If you're happy because he says you're wonderful, then you'll be unhappy when he forgets to say it. In the habit of praising yourself, get in the habit of praising yourself, and you will feel good about yourself, which is all that matters anyway. Okay, here's another one. Be supportive. These are all about what to say. Rule number 8. Hopefully that we learn the right things to do. How do you and your husband send each other off to work every day? Do you yell, "Have a good day," from the other side of the house as he's walking out the door? Do you admonish, "Call me if you're going to be late for dinner"? Do you rush him out the door with, "Go already, or you'll miss the train"? Do you even bother to say goodbye or kiss him? When your husband announces a career change, a financial investment, or starts a new diet, do you take a skeptical wait and see attitude? If the above describes you more or less, you are doing your husband and your marriage a disservice. You should treat your husband like a warrior who is going out to battle every day. Rally him on. It's a jungle out there, and he needs your support. Be his cheerleader. The next time he goes to work, give him a big smooch, a pat on the back, and a few words of encouragement. Any of the following will do. Good luck with your sales call. Knock 'em dead with your presentation. Kill the competition. I know you'll get that account, and if you don't, they're idiots. You can do it. I'm rooting for you. I want to hear all about the case when you come home. If every man were sent to work with a big vote of confidence, productivity would skyrocket. Every man needs someone to build his ego. He can't count on his boss, his clients, his friends, or kids to do it. You're it. It's up to you. Pump him up the most when he is not doing so well. It's easy to believe in a man when he's just been promoted or is making a ton of money. But what about when he's just scraping by? Let's say your husband is an aspiring comedy writer who makes his living driving a cab. When you were dating, you laughed at all his jokes and told him that you knew he was going to be the next Jay Leno. It's been 5 years since your last vacation, and your support is waning. You're on the verge of saying, "Forget comedy and get a regular job like your cousin, the CPA." We know how you feel, but saying it will do more harm than good. And it won't work. Unless your husband has expressed an interest in accounting or quitting comedy, do not play career counselor. Keep laughing at his jokes and being supportive. Unless, of course, you are starving and can't pay the rent. Remember your wedding vows. Don't be a fair weather wife. Do not be a fair weather wife. Let's say your husband just announced that he is leaving his comfortable corporate job to start his own software business. There go the paid vacations and health insurance. He's working longer hours for less money, spending your joint savings on computers, fax machines, and phones, but he's convinced he's going to be the next Bill Gates. You're not exactly a happy camper. You want to scream. So what was so bad about your corporate job? Bite your tongue, or he will think that you do not believe in him. Your entrepreneurial husband, needs your encouragement. Oh my God, I didn't do that. How would you like it if he disapproved of your quote, silly, end quote, decision to leave a high paying job to work at home just because you didn't show a profit right away? Even if your husband is full of himself, he should be allowed to dream. Let him. Don't burst his bubble. Why would any man want to come home to a wife who rolled her eyes and said, right, every time he had an idea or made a resolution? Maybe your husband wants to run for local political office. You know he doesn't have a prayer. He's running anyway. You want to say, you've got to be kidding. But in this case, he doesn't want to hear the truth. He wants your support. So give it to him. Call all your friends and tell them to vote for him. Stand by his side when he gives speeches, buy buttons and balloons, and throw him a campaign party. It doesn't matter if he wins or loses. What matters is that you believe in him. We know what you're thinking. This is all very childish. But men can be childish sometimes, so just go along with it if you want to make your marriage strong. Don't be a party pooper. Maybe your husband is on his fifth diet this year. You want to say, and what's going to make this one any different? His diets usually last about 3 weeks and end in donut binges at 2 o'clock in the morning. On his last diet, he actually gained 3 pounds. You have every right to be cynical. The facts speak for themselves, but your husband will appreciate some amnesia on your part and undying support, even if you have to act a little. Say, great, how can I help you? Do you want me to throw out the bread? Stock up on tuna? Make you lunch every day? I know you can do it. This isn't being dishonest, it's being kind. If birth if bursting a man's bubble would make him earn more money or lose weight, then we'd say do it. But it doesn't. It crushes his ego and creates resentment. Being supportive is no guarantee your husband will be a success, but it will boost his confidence and improve your relationship. Support him in everything. If your husband has a cold or sore throat, don't minimize it. Pay attention to him. Baby him. Make him his favorite soup. Offer to get him medicine. If his favorite football team loses, show empathy even if you couldn't care less. He will appreciate it. Don't forget to thank him and praise him whenever possible when he takes out the garbage, mows the lawn, or hangs a picture on the wall. Make him feel needed and good about himself. Remember, behind every great man is a supportive wife. If you appreciate him, he'll do even more. And if you believe in him, he's more likely to believe in himself and in you. He'll want to make you proud, and you will be. We're reading from the Rules for Marriage, Time-Tested Secrets for Capturing the Heart of Mr. Right, because when we learn the right things to do, then it's wisdom. When we do it, it's called virtue. I'm going to read this one now. Let him win. Rule number 9. Let him win. This is all about what to say. You fell in love with a house you really can't afford. He would rather buy a smaller house and have more money for furniture and a new car. You want to go first class to Paris for your 10th wedding anniversary. He said, okay, but never mentioned it again, and your 11th anniversary is just around the corner. You want to have 3 kids. He's fine with 2. You want a luxury car. He wants to buy a compact and save money for the kids' college tuition. Do you fight for what you want or let him win? Women ask us this all the time. We say, unless it's a critical issue to you, let him win. The relationship is the relationship as a whole is more important than always getting your way. I'm sorry, I'm reading too fast. Better to be happy than always be right. You may think we are being unfair. We know how you feel, but we are telling you what works. If you win and the relationship suffers, you lose. So, is it really worth it? We don't think so. Our experience is that even if you get your way, you will usually regret it. If you let him win, he can never say, I told you so, or resent you forcing the issue. You can probably relate to this true story. Marianne and Chuck fell in love with a house about $50,000 above their price range. Marianne wanted it no matter what. Chuck was reluctant, knowing that buying it would mean breaking into their IRAs and children's college savings. They continued to look at other houses, but Marianne talked day and night about the quote, dream house, end quote. She told Chuck she wouldn't mind cutting back on expenses, going out to eat less, driving their old cars, and buying used furniture if they could live in that house. If we don't eat out or go on vacation, we'll save thousands, she told him. After several weeks of persuasion, Chuck relented and bought the house, thinking it would make his wife happy. It did for a while, but once they settled in, Marianne had a hard time adjusting to their new poverty status. There was no money to decorate the house, no money for a gardener. Chuck had to mow the lawn on his only day off. The kitchen appliances were old and needed to be replaced, but there was no money for new ones. Suddenly, the reality hit her. In retrospect, Marianne wished she had waited for a house they could really afford. Chuck never said I told you so, but he grumbled about the heating bill and mowing the lawn, and Marianne felt guilty. They had also cut back on nice Saturday night dinners out, which in the past had given them some alone time to bond. Thus, the house took its toll on their marriage, not only financially, but emotionally. The lesson here: it is never a good idea to force your will. Karen always wanted to go to Italy. Her husband Tim had no interest in Europe. His idea of a fun vacation was Atlantic City or Las Vegas. I'm going to read you the last paragraph of this because we may not have time for the entire example. If you are constantly at odds with your husband to have your own way on a particular issue, maybe it's time to step back and think why you must have it and what it is doing to your relationship. More often than not, when you let your husband be right and try to make him happy, he turns around and reacts in kind, and both of you win. Of course, some issues are more crucial than expensive homes and lavish vacations. If the subject is truly important to you, we believe you should fight for what you want as long as you can live with the consequences: an angry husband, tension at home, or all out warfare. You can't fight about everything, though, so be choosy. Okay. April had a situation which was too important for compromise. She had two boys and desperately wanted a girl. Do you make yourself happy or do you make him comfortable? April convinced Phil to go for it. They had a girl, but she could not get him to be involved in raising the child. He was a devoted parent to his two boys, but he rarely had the time or energy for the newborn. She changed just about every diaper and was the only parent up at night when the baby cried. No surprises here. April got what she wanted, but she was also saddled with all the work. Sometimes when you win, you still don't get everything you want, or it takes a toll on your marriage. Remember to pick your battles carefully. Now, in this example, April had wanted to have, she bought, she tried to convince her husband Phil to try to have a third child. She bought books about conceiving a girl and talked incessantly about it. Phil had always wanted two. He didn't care about the sex of the child, but he didn't feel emotionally or financially comfortable having a third. We empathize with women in April's situation. So, get this book, The Rules for Marriage. It's a lot of fun to read, and there's even a rules for sexes in here too. Just wanted you to know. Okay, I'll talk to you later. All the Kinderheck.